From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, Mike Norvell watch underway after a fourth straight loss. The overwhelming data for why this thing is completely broken, and how will we treat the next person? There's going to be a next person soon, right? Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. There's a promo code out there in the great wide internet to use, everybody, that allows you to buy one and get one free. BOGO. Warchant BOGO. Use that promo code warchantbogo at vitaminenergy.com to get yourself Vitamin Energy. It's synergistically formulated into one little bottle. They've packed all these vitamins and nutrients and caffeine to keep your energy and your mood and your focus right. vitaminenergy.com, Warchant BOGO, the promo code. Give it a shot. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. If you're a student, email us from your fsu.edu email address. For a free subscription to warchant.com for a year, email support at warchant.com from your FSU student email address. We'll get you set up. If you're a regular civilian out there, just give us $1 and a week of your time, and we'll convince you this is the right thing to be doing. You'll also get a complimentary year subscription to The Athletic. You could have been reading all the awesome content over at warchant.com. Ira Schofel, Corey Clark, man, Jeff and Tom creating content on a Sunday for everybody. We appreciate you turning to us being myself and Corey. Corey, how are you, my friend? Odd times bring us together once again.
Yeah, for sure. And as we record this on a Sunday evening, no news to pass along, so we're just going to move along as if it is inevitable, but we don't know when exactly that will be. But there is some nuance there, and I will tell people ahead of time. If you did listen, and I listened to about 15 minutes of Jeff and Tom, we won't sound as if we're at a funeral. We're still going to have some liveliness in our voice, and hey, the sun still came up. It did. Not really in Tallahassee. It was pretty rainy on Sunday, but there's still a reason to be alive, and there's still a reason to be optimistic. Not about this season, obviously, but it is Florida State, and just go look if you're worried about if Florida State can ever get back, if they're ever going to be relevant again. Just go look in the top 10, man. Go look in the top 25. Georgia Tech is 10th in the country. Maybe they're 7th. I don't know if they're 10th.
I'll get on it.
Virginia's like 15th. Indiana's
second.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man.
Georgia Tech's 7th.
No, Georgia Tech is 7th. Yeah. Vanderbilt is 10th.
BYU's 11th.
Yeah. So that's my point. Is like, yes, it sucks. This is ridiculous, and it's I don't think probably it is unsalvageable with this coach. But the program is clearly salvageable. You still have plenty of things working for you that at least Georgia Tech has. You still have what Georgia Tech has and what Vanderbilt has. So you make the right hire. You bring in the right players. You very, very. I mean, even as early as next year, can be in a playoff hunt. Depending on if you make the right hire and who your quarterback is, who your coordinators are, all that stuff. It's very easy to get there. It's also really easy to make bad hires, and it's really easy to get it wrong. Everybody across the country has done that. Florida State was immune to it for probably 30 years. When you think about our childhoods, Aslan, like Alabama went through it. Texas went through it. Georgia was off in the desert forever. Oklahoma had some dreadful years. Texas, Florida is still going through it. Miami, as we all know. Tennessee, Ole Miss, on and on. USC, Notre Dame. They've all dipped, had huge dips. They find if you're a blue blood, and if you make the right hires, and if you live in a fertile recruiting area, which we all know Florida is, you can get back there quickly. So I want to start the show with some optimism. It's not going to be with this head coach, clearly, but I do think this program. I know this program can get back to playing for championships again as long as you make the right hire.
I don't want to say uncomfortable, but it is interesting. Again, as we sit here and talk about this, Uncle Corey told all of us a week ago, if you lose to Stanford, it's over. And then, Uncle Jeff pretty much said the same thing as well. Man, It's 4 losses. They're all by 1 possession,
Yeah,
1
that's
score,
true. That's
last
true. Just,
play.
4 plays away from being undefeated, number 1 in the country.
Listen, the Miami game, no. But everything else, and then, $50 million is a real tangible, kind of firewall between two. I know you're not going to pay it off in one lump sum, but you're going to have to stroke checks for 3, 4, 5 years like you did for Willie Taggart, but at a much higher rate. But is there anything that you could salvage in the next 5 weeks, 6 games we have left, where you could – this season's obviously lost. Whatever you try to get done this year didn't work. Now, do you get to do like a third reset? But – maybe you do because just it's just so cost prohibitive to move off of him. Is there any of that sort of devil's advocacy going on, do you think, with the decision makers right now, Corey?
About like whether to keep him or not just because it's going to cost too much?
That and just, listen, we are so close. Maybe a few more players, maybe some more depth, maybe year 2 of us being together and more cohesion and playing harder for one another because we're a new group. Like this, if we keep it, the whole Dabo thing. This is not going to finish out the way that Dabo finished in 2008. You've brought up so many times. It's been like a very prescient example. But Dabo, people thought like clearly he was in over his head at Clemson. Did not have a really good season, but then his AD, who was kind of on the way out, was like, "Nah, man, I believe in you. We're going to keep you around." And then, a few years later, like Dabo ends up making Clemson pretty strong and ends up winning some championships not soon thereafter. Because if you don't want to spend $3-4 million a year, the 10 of you that are getting together to do this buyout, and then as Pete Nakos is reporting, Corey, like $100 million all in to wipe the slate clean. And to bring all these new people on board.
Right, that's kind of what we thought, right? Like I estimated that to pay out all the other assistant coaching contracts, you're looking at $70 million all told. Then you have to bring in a new staff. So, who knows? It might be more than that. And I don't know where you get that money, but you're going to have to find that money. I think when it comes to Norvell, what bothers me so much is that what would make you believe? Like, there must have been some things when Dabo was the interim coach that they loved about him, about what he was doing to the program, maybe what they were hearing with the way he recruited, what the fellow coaches were telling him, what the players were telling him. And maybe the players told that AD that they believed in Dabo with how hard they played. And how well they played, and how disciplined maybe they played. I don't know. I don't remember the exact circumstances. I remember when was it Jeff? No, not Jeff. When Tommy got fired. I remember that day. I don't remember how Clemson played those next 4 days, and we think we are 4 games, and I think we were all very surprised that Dabo kept the job because he was just a wide receivers coach. But there must have been something that AD saw it, that was magnetic, that got his players to play for him. He was relatable to players. He got good players, and they must have seen that as a possibility with him. With Norvell in year 6 to now be on your 4th 4-game losing streak, which again, as I tweeted and wrote in my column, there had not been a single 4-game losing streak at Florida State since 1975. The year I was born, Islam.
Good year.
Great year. Rocky, I think, came out in 1975.
76, I think.
Dude, Jesus. I always get that wrong. You sure? I think Rocky was 75,
It's
buddy.
really crazy for me to go against you when it comes to trivia, but I'm going to type it in right now.
Okay, Rocky, I thought it won the 1976. It won
that's what
Academy Award.
It is a 1976 American independent sports drama film directed by John G. Avildsen.
Nonsense.
It came out November 21st, 1976.
So they probably started pre-production in 75, which is what I meant, guys. Come on. Get off my back.
Sorry.
But anyway, so the last 4-game losing streak Florida State had before Mike Norvell was hired was in 1975, the year before Bobby Bowden. Darryl Muger got him fired. And all the other losses the previous 2 years. Mike Norvell just had a 2-10 season and now has had his 4th 4-game losing streak in 5.5 years. That alone is enough to be fired. And what really bothered me about Saturday night, man, was there was a lot. But when you're trying to ask yourself, is this the right guy? Does he deserve this job? Does he want this job? Do his players want him to have this job? How do you then go out and play like that? When you must know that your coach's career is on the line. I know the coaches know that. Norvell knows that. And then why, after a game in which his team has as many penalties as points, is he's saying I didn't have my team prepared. Now maybe I know it's what good leaders do. They're accountable. They jump on the grenade because I'm sure he wasn't doing defensive lineman drills with Terrence Knighton to tell Daniel Lyons not to jump off sides. I get it, but it's his team. Yeah. It's his coach. That's his. It's all him. It's his offense that gets to delay a game before the first play of the game, which it's not like they were starting at the 3, Aslan, and had to cut because there was some crazy penalty. They got the ball where they always get the ball, at the 25-yard line. That's how they start every drive they have. What in the world are you getting delay a game for? That to me says everything. And it's just like that was the audition to keep the job, that you deserve the job. With the power brokers, the people that matter, the people that are going to have to spend this money, they want to see a reason to keep you. They desperately want to see a reason to keep you because they don't want to cut you a check to not coach. And then you go out there and score as many points as you have penalties and have a penalty on the first play of the game. You're completely undisciplined. You look like the middle of the Willie years, man. It looked just like it did in 2018 and 2019. You had more yards. Deuce Robinson and Mekhi Danzy are really good. But other than that, it looked like 2018, 2019 again. Nothing. It's been a regression back to before he got here. But more than a regression, it's been a regression back to the Mudra years. Understand, Aslan, they are. We won't count the Orange Bowl. So the 19 games before the Orange Bowl, they were 19-0. The 19 games since the Orange Bowl, they are 5-14. Oof. In 3 of those wins are East Texas A&M, Charleston Southern, and Kent State, who might as well be a Division II school. So out of the 5, he's beaten 2 legitimate Division I FBS programs in the last 2 years, California and Alabama. He's lost to everyone else. It's untenable. I don't understand the purpose of him even coaching out the rest of the year because we all know where it's going to go. And the reason I say that is because we still have to talk to him, and we have to talk to his players, we have to talk to his assistants. And what are we going to talk about? Like how the Desir twins are developing? Man, they might not be here next year because you're not going to be here next year. So that's why if you know it's going to happen and if it's inevitable, it just seems like the smart thing to do is what Florida did with Napier. Just rip the Band-Aid off. And I can't imagine a scenario. It's a bye week, too. It just seems like the perfect time to make this decision. And I want people to understand I'm not callous, and I don't say this stuff lightly. I don't call for people's jobs. It essentially took me 20 years to call for Leonard's job, and that was only after they blew that crazy game at Boston College. I mean, we all knew it was happening anyway. But that's when I wrote the column, when they blew that game last year in the final seconds. And it's like, okay, y'all just need to come out with a cool exit plan. Give this guy the exit he deserves. And they did, and it was fine. But before that, man, I was pulling for Leonard to turn it around. And I literally was pulling for Mike to turn it around. He had all the runway to turn this thing around. He didn't have an excuse of like my receivers were hurt, or Miami's really good, or Virginia's a good team, and that's a Friday night. You're playing Stanford in front of 26,000 people, a backup quarterback, an interim coach that does not want to coach. And you still lost. You care so much. They don't care at all. You still found a way to lose. That's unsalvageable. You don't deserve to be the head coach anymore. And it sucks to say that because I like him. But he'll be just fine, everyone. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, 2 things that kind of tie in together. I just think, Corey, that there's a lot of people that were complaining, rightfully so. And listen, I am not the referee officiating complainer CEO at all. I don't even know. I'm not even a card-carrying member.
Right.
It all comes back to being at the Swamp in 2003 and beating Florida. And there was numerous kind of 50-50 calls that went Florida State's favor. Those psychotic Florida fans call it like the swindle in the Swamp. No other rational person has that nickname for that game. But I just remember it's such a, I don't know, it's not a very gracious way to look at wins and losses and things. But I mean, if Deuce's touchdown catch against Virginia doesn't get overturned, right. If Gavin Sawchuk's last-second plunge doesn't get blocked by Mekhi Danzy's butt in the replay, or Tommy's 4th down play doesn't get overturned and said that they said that he fell short on the 4th and 2. It's like, so all these calls really did affect the outcome of games. Yeah. So I want to talk about that, and then this belief that he's unlucky, and there's other things that we could probably talk about that he was lucky, and then also the likability factor, because it is a thing in sports in general, but especially college football. Man, it really feels like like, you obviously are a fan of your alma mater, your favorite team, but like, you really do become this like super fan of the head coach, especially when they're successful. Like you buy into the cult of personality that they are. Like, you want this likable figure to be your head coach. That's why Jimbo, I mean, the wins helped, but like, Jimbo was a likable guy when they were winning. Like, they had all these folksy weird sayings and like all these gifts being made of things that he was doing. So like, Mike had that component going for him too. And like, it's just weird that we have to constantly caveat things. Like, he's a really great guy, but it's just not going to work. I don't know how many other, like, fan bases have had to argue themselves into saying that it's okay to let go of somebody that's a good human being, but not a great football coach for you. So the luck-unluck factor, then just his likability, how that all kind of meshes and adds nuance to where where this is ultimately going to probably wind up, we feel like.
Yeah, and when it comes down to that final play, look, he's in. There's no doubt that he's in. I think you and I could go reenact that camera angle that we did see. Like, have me laying on the ground in the exact spot that Sawchuk is laying on the ground from that camera angle, which I assume is like you would have to know where it's positioned, but you know the exact degree you're looking down from what yard line, because it's behind the play, but it's not that far behind the play, and it's zoomed in, and then just walk the camera, and I'll just stay there. I won't move. And then just walk the camera over to the goal line and then show where I'm actually laying. I promise you that ball's in the end zone. There's no doubt it's in the end zone. But because they didn't have a down-the-line camera because Dancy's butt was blocking it. By the way, if I'm a coach, I tell my guys, get out of the way. There's a camera there. Duck. Jump to the ground. Jump to the ground. As soon as it's like somebody yells duck, you just jump to the ground. You're not involved in that play. Get out of the way so the camera can see that he's in. But also, that side judge is the same side judge that raced in and overruled the guy that gave Tommy the first down on the previous or two drives prior to that when Tommy dove and didn't get it. That side judge on the Stanford sideline races in because the guy coming from the Florida State sideline is giving Tommy the first down by probably half a yard. That dude comes in a yard behind the line to gain and just signals the other way. Not even talking with his cohort. And I'm not quite sure why his opinion mattered more than the guy coming from Florida State's side, but it clearly did. And then that's the same guy that comes racing in, and I think he spotted it at the 1, which is a joke. If he didn't get in, which he did, it was at the 1-inch line, not at the yard line. So, again, the point of all that being, man, you ain't San Jose State. It's not supposed to come down to the final play against Stanford. There's no excuse for having it into the hands of some Pacific Coast referee in his spare time dude on the sidelines. That's not how your season and your career at Florida State should – that's not who should have it in their hands. But because your team committed 13 penalties, because your team let a backup quarterback go 94 yards, although one of the calls on James Williams probably was a little iffy, but, it happens. They still got the other 79 yards. That's what I'm saying, man. Like that's where it's indefensible. That's bad luck. That's bad luck that Danzy was blocking that angle. It's bad luck that for whatever reason ESPN had the worst broadcast crew they had as far as the camera angles and the setups for that final play, and they didn't have a good look on Tommy's run either. Although he might have, I thought on first glance he was down.
And I feel bad for you. Like you said in your tweet, this was the first time you were able to watch a game at home, and you didn't get the
whole... Yeah, man, what happened? Is that just a Friday night thing?
No, they do it Saturday during the day. I was watching one of the games.
That's what I thought.
I don't know if it was too late at night. But
then what were they? I mean, I would like it. I would like a real because when I tweeted that out, people were like, "Man, that's just on Friday nights," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, my bad."
No, I don't think so.
That's what I thought. I thought it would be for all those games. So that was really disappointing. I wanted to hear that because it was a 3-minute conversation. Whatever they were conversing about. And look, man, if it takes you 3 minutes, then you're not going to overturn it. The problem is it should have been a ruled a touchdown on the field, but Slappy McGee from the Stanford sideline thought that it was a tackle for loss. So there's no way you're going to get that touchdown. But at the end of the day, does it matter or not? Like I feel the same way about Florida, and I talked about this on the watch along. Yeah, man. What's the point of keeping Napier because he miracled a win against Mississippi State?
No.
Like if the kid makes the field goal or if you don't intercept the pass, like are you going to let one play dictate what's good for the future of your program or not? And if Sawchuk gets in because of the miracle of all miracles to even be in that position.
Yeah.
I mean, absolute miracles to get down there, 2 of them in a row. For you to miracle that game out, does that all of a sudden mean that Norvell should be the head coach in 2026 and you get to save yourself an extra $10 million until you have to fire him next year? Like, that's why I'm saying I don't know. It sucks that Florida State lost that game, but just because you're Florida State fans and you want Florida State to win. But I don't think it shouldn't have had much of an impact on this decision. It is clear this guy can't get this program back. They gave him a bunch of toys. They gave him 2 really high-priced coordinators, and it's still this. It's still another 4-game losing streak, and there's just no world in which it's acceptable to lose 9 games in a row in conference at Florida State. And that's just where we are. I mean, you can sit there and say, well, it's a lot of money. Okay, man, but what's it going to cost you to not make a change? How many fans are going to just become apathetic? How many fans are going to tune out? How many fans are going to say, I'm not giving you an effing dime so you can misspend my money some more on poor roster evaluations and poor coaching plans? I'm not giving this guy another dime unless it's to pay him to go away. He doesn't get any more of my money and get to talk to me about response and how much he believes and how much they're going to fight. He's lost it.
And the continuity
He's lost the program.
And the continuity argument kind of falls flat because
Yeah.
you're going to have to go get new players, right? So it's not like this you have this huge core that you're going to build with, and then Tony sticks around and Gus sticks around. You're going to have to probably get a whole new offensive line. You're going to have to go get new edge rushers. I shouldn't say new. You're going to have to get some actual edge rushers. So yeah, that's another thing that probably does not help your argument if you talk about holding on and there's data out there that says that he deserves some more time and more grace. Yeah, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, agreed. And look, man, there's no argument any sane person can make at this point to keep him around. Because, again, if you looked at him through vacuums, through just the lens of those 1 games, the first 3 were all at least justifiable. Miami is good, although Louisville could handle him. Virginia is a good team, although Washington State blew that. But Washington State's defense played a hell of a lot better than yours did in that snake pit in Charlottesville on Saturday night. And then Pittsburgh, their quarterback is pretty good, and you did lose your receivers. And he didn't have anybody to throw to in the second half, and that's why you lost that game. Fine, whatever. But there were 5 losses before those, and then there's a loss at Stanford, which is just lost by 24, 25 points to SMU, and needed a miracle in the fourth quarter to beat San Jose State. And lost their starting quarterback and starting wide receiver and had a bunch of other starters out too. And you still couldn't manage it. Can't win on the road. His teams can't handle failure, and they can't handle success. And because maybe the worst thing that happened to him, Aslan, looking back in hindsight, is beating Alabama.
Yep.
That's the worst thing that happened to him. Just like maybe the worst thing that happened to him is him putting together a 19-game winning streak on the back of guys that weren't going to be there in 2024. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why it fell off a cliff quite like the way it did, other than Jordan Travis is really good, and you haven't come close to finding him since. But gosh darn, man, this is
It's inexplicable. It makes no sense.
It is inexplicable.
It makes no sense.
It's insane. Even if you're a bad coach, even if you're the worst coach in the country, it's still inexplicable to go 4-15 or 5-14 at Florida State over a 19-game span.
Do we look at Gene Chizik, though? Do you look at a guy, I mean, is Jordan Travis our Cam Newton? And then as soon as Chizik lost Cam Newton and Gus.
But Chizik had a horrible record at Iowa State before he got the Auburn job, I think. Remember that guy yelling on the tarmac when he landed, whatever his record was, 6-18?
Yeah.
And then he won a national championship 2 years later. Well, Norvell was good at Memphis.
Yeah.
Like, they won things at Memphis. So no, it's not quite Chizik, but yeah, man, it's all good. All coaches are better when they have really good quarterbacks. You'd like your coach to be able to at least put together some semblance of a football team that can win games. Like, think about all the teams, Aslan, that win 7 games. There must be at least 50 of them in the country that win 7 games a year. This guy's not going to win 7 games in 2 years at Florida State. Mm-hmm. You can't. When you keep stacking this stuff up, it's like, what are you? You can't wait any longer. Maybe they wait till today because it's a bye week. That would make the most sense, I guess, that they didn't want to share the stage with Florida. Once the Napier news was announced, they're like, well, let's just hang back and do it tomorrow. I mean, I do know that Norvell was at the offices on Sunday. They had staff meetings, so for now, maybe they're going ahead as planned, but it is a bye week. They are moving into the new football facility this week, or they're supposed to. But I just don't know how you go along. Like, he's going to be booed mercilessly at Wake. It's untenable, and it's not. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Is there anything he could do, save from winning the rest of his games, that could save his job over these next 6 weeks? And if there isn't, then go ahead and just rip it off. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com, the website.
No Band-Aids there, everyone. No. You don't need Band-Aids at Corner Pocket.
Just hugged. Corey Clark did not originate his watch-along cameo appearance from the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
I should have.
You should have. That would have been must-see TV.
Yeah.
But come on out next Friday for a meet and greet before the Wake Forest game. We're off this Friday. Next Friday, we're back to hanging out with you folks. Show your faces. We'll shake your hands. We'll talk about Florida State football. Tuesday night, trivia night, 7 p.m. Thursday night, bingo night, 7 p.m. 4 rounds, $1,000 up for grabs, $250 in each round. Do the math. Delicious daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for only $8.99. Daily weekday happy hour, 4 to 7 p.m. All day happy hour on Sunday. It's like they've got this whole thing figured out about how to be a sports bar. Oh, yeah, and then all the 40 televisions that they know how to control them and put them on the game of your choice when it comes to Sundays. We're telling you, folks, if you're in Tallahassee and you like sports and you like the people from Warchant, check out the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. cptallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway.
We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it. Warchant BOGO, your promo code, buy one, get one free. Just so everyone knows, so on Sunday, Corey, we typically get coordinators. But because of the Saturday late kickoff, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, it ended at 2:17 a.m. Eastern time. What time did you end up getting into bed, by the way, on whatever Saturday night, Sunday morning? I don't think I got into bed until like 4:10 a.m.
Yeah, me too. And I was still finishing up my column. So, yeah, I think I went to bed at 4:30. That's ridiculous. But it's ridiculous. Not just that I was up till 4:30, but a Florida State football game ending at 2 a.m. is outrageous.
Yeah. So because of the travel, because of the time, on Friday they told us, like, hey, we're going to do coordinators on Tuesday, and then we'll have some Wednesday availability for you. Mike never speaks on a bye week on a Monday, so we're not going to have Norvell press conference on Monday. And
so that's a good. I'm glad you're giving that context, because people are going to wonder, like, well, why didn't y'all talk to the coordinators today? What does that mean? Or why didn't y'all get Norvell on Monday? But this was planned weeks ago, months ago, probably, that we were never going to get the coordinators the Sunday after a cross country flight back from Stanford, win or lose, and of course they all thought they were going to win and showed up like it. And same with Norvell. So I'm glad you pointed that out, Aslan.
Like you said at the beginning of the show, Corey, you didn't want to make this such a sad show, maybe a little bit more uplifting. But part of me can't help but think that I've been quite critical of some of the things that have happened here over the last 6 seasons. I probably didn't buy in all that hard. I wasn't a big year zero apologist. But I shut my mouth and knew my role once this guy got things rolling. But to have it end up slipping through his fingers and we find ourselves in this position is a bit of a bummer. I was kind of equating it to, weirdly enough, as being a young child. I always thought it would be cool to get hit by a hurricane. I just thought it'd be cool, the crazy weather and see what happens, all these winds. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want my parents to lose their home. But I just thought it'd be cool to have a hurricane come. And then when you're an adult and a hurricane comes, you're like, oh gosh, my house is going to get ruined. I'm not going to have any power. This is going to suck. And the second most exciting part of being a college football fan to me is when it doesn't go right. Like winning obviously is the best part. When it doesn't go right, getting into a coaching search. Like it's hope springs eternal. It's like, let's go out there and let's get this thing fixed. But it's tough, man. And now it's here. And I've got like a weird sense of anxiety. I'm not of the belief that, they could do worse, right? Like there's no guarantee they're going to do better than Mike Norvell. They could maybe end up even worse off. How can you say you definitely be better than Mike? I'm not that cynical about it, but there is like a pit of anxiety in my stomach about, man, this is just, it's with all the money they're going to have to pay to get rid of the staff and start over. Like this is going to be really tough, even with a great iconic brand to sell like Florida State. But I feel like you don't maybe feel nearly as skeptical about it as I do.
No, I mean, I think that they might miss on a couple. It's funny. I see people on Twitter all the time thinking that Florida State's becoming the Nebraska and that they're about to be irrelevant. It's like, man, again, go look at the top 10. What has Georgia Tech done in the last? What does Georgia Tech have going for it, or Vanderbilt, or Indiana, or BYU, or Utah, or Arizona State that Florida State doesn't have? You just have a bad marriage of a coach and I guess a philosophy and his vision of how to recruit football players to his program. You made a bad hire. Just like in the NFL, if you make a bad hire, you rectify it. The problem with these stupid colleges is if the Falcons wanted to fire Raheem Morris tomorrow, they wouldn't owe him $50 million. But they're not idiots. NFL teams aren't run by idiots. Colleges are run by idiots. They're run by the agent. They're run by Jimmy Sexton, frankly, and they believe every stupid word he says. So now you owe Mike Norvell $54 million to not be your coach. But either way, if you make the right hire, it flips quickly. If you bring the right players in, it flips quickly. The difference between college and the NFL, like, look, the Chiefs were set up for 15 years once they drafted Pat Mahomes and paired him with Andy Reid. Obviously got him some weapons, but they're set up for success for 15 years. In college, it's more cyclical, obviously, because they don't stay for 15 years, except for that kid at Miami. Everybody else has to be out in 4 or 5. So it lends itself to more turnover, to more ups and downs. There aren't a lot of Ohio States and Georgias. And I would say, because I know James Franklin's going to come. He'll probably come up on the show. He'll definitely come up in the coming weeks as soon as the announcement is made, because he's out there right now, and you might be able to get him a little cheaper because he's getting $50 million already to not coach Penn State. But the thought of he can't win the big game, right? That's the narrative with him.
Right.
I'm asking you, Aslan, take away Ryan Day, and I guess take away Kirby Smart. What coach in the country right now would you say has a history of winning big games? Yeah, that's not rhetorical. Like, no. I'm legitimately asking you because I try to think of one and I can't.
I mean, I love Lane, but Lane lost to Georgia this year. He beat Georgia last year, though. But he lost to Florida and lost a Florida game that would have gotten him in the playoff. Correct, absolutely, you're right. Yeah.
But anyway, and I think Lane's a good coach too. But has he won any big games? Like the big games, like literally, I'm asking, like Sarkisian, is he a big game coach?
Right.
Like the thought of like there's these Paternos and Bowdens and Frank Beamers, if you want to say that, or Bo Schembechlers or Woody Hayes, all these coaches of yesteryear that always have their teams in the big games and win most of them. Tom Osborne, Newt Rockne, whoever you want to name, they're not out there, man. I don't know how many active coaches are out there right now that have a national championship on their resume that are active right now. I literally don't know. Is it 3?
Dabo, Kirby,
and
Ryan
Day. Is that it?
I'll check.
So everybody else, who won? Yeah, because Orgeron's not coaching anymore. Yeah. Orgeron. So it's just we have to look at it through that lens. There are no guarantees, but there's no coach you're going to hire that is going to be a perfect fit unless you go get Kirby. Kirby's the one. Kirby is the absolute only one that you would say, or Saban if he wanted to come out of retirement. They're the only ones that you would say absolutely that's a guarantee, slam dunk. He is going to fill your roster with really good players that play really hard and win a whole bunch of football games and win big games. Everybody else out there has a history of losing big games. They just do. They don't have the record that Franklin has of whatever it is, 4-24 against the top 10. or top 15, whatever his crazy record is. But he was an underdog in 20 of those games. It wasn't like he kept getting upset. He was playing really good teams too. And as I pointed out to someone on Sunday who brought up the big games thing, I'm like, the beauty of the big games, like his big games were against Jim Harbaugh and Ohio State. His big games in the ACC are against Dabo and Mario. I bet those are going to be a little easier to manage.
Well said, yeah.
So either way, just because he couldn't win at Penn State, the big game, quote unquote, doesn't mean he sucks. And there certainly isn't anybody out there. I don't think there's anybody out there close that has a resume like his. Again, if there'd have been a 12-team playoff since 2020, his team would have been in the playoffs 3 straight years. And maybe they get hot and win a couple. But he obviously is a very good coach that will load your team with big players. Bobby Bowden had the narrative was around him until 1987 that he couldn't win the big game, that he couldn't beat good teams. It flips, man. You get enough good players, it flips. I think James Franklin getting to recruit at a place like Florida State, think about what the program he took over at Penn State. Number one, he won 9 games 2 straight years at Vanderbilt. The guy can flat out coach. And Vanderbilt had never won 9 games 2 years in a row, ever. It's not the Vanderbilt we know today, Aslan.
No, sir.
The Clark Lee's Vanderbilt on the back of James Franklin. The Vanderbilt was a laughingstock and became a laughingstock, again, quickly after he left. But while he was there, they won 9 games 2 years in a row. In the SEC, before the portal and before NIL. That's incredible. He can build a program. He took over a Penn State program that had Bill O'Brien as its head coach for 2 years, and was still in the shadows of the worst scandal in college football history. It was a gross place that nobody wanted to go play at. And we forget what he took over there. It's not like Penn State was just always on this trajectory to be a 10-win team. Penn State, I thought, was about to turn into Rice or UTEP because it was so stained with what happened with, I won't even get into it. You all know. And if you don't, Google it. Like you would for Signetti. Just Google it. So he took over a Penn State team that it's not just a birthright that they're going to be awesome. He gave them awesome players and some really good teams. No awesome teams and no championships. I get it. But the guy can flat out coach. He's out there. He's only 53. And the reason I bring him up is to get to my overall point. Here we go, Corey. Wrap it up. I think you have to. For me, Franklin is my number one. Then I'm going to Jeff Brom or Rhett Lashley, and I'm going to start making people in real Power 4 conferences that have beaten Clemson, that have recruited against these schools, that know how to beat these schools and know what these leagues are like. That's who I'm going to go make say no to me. I am not going to the AAC unless it's my 44th choice. I would rather have the defensive coordinator at Ohio State, the defensive coordinator at Georgia, the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. I want somebody that's going to bring big-time players and a big-time presence into my program again. This is Florida State. It doesn't need to be fiddling around, just like Florida doesn't need to be fiddling around with the Louisianas and the Central Michigans and the Colorado States. Florida State doesn't need to be fiddling around with the AAC anymore. It needs to go get somebody from a big boy program and a big boy conference that knows how to do it. Franklin did it in the Big Ten at a pretty high level for a decade. Jeff Brom, man, yeah, I'm all in on that guy. That guy knows what he's doing. He's a much better coach than Mike Norvell. I don't know how anybody could question it. You think about those two programs and where they were that night in Charlotte 2 years ago and what they've become since. Brom just keeps winning, man. He keeps getting quarterbacks. He keeps winning. His teams play hard. They play tough. He got the best running back out of the state of Florida somehow. You didn't recruit him. He went to Louisville. It is just torching Miami. It was the ACC Freshman of the Year last year while you were handing off to Cam Davis. No offense, Cam Davis. That guy can coach. And Rhett Lashley has done it at a high level in Power 4 programs and wins. That's who I would go after. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why I brought up Franklin. But I just want somebody that has a history in a real conference, in a big conference. Because I don't care that you won 9 or 10 games in the AAC. I do not care at all. I think that has been proven to not matter at all. Willie won 10 games at South Florida. Mike won 10 games at Memphis. Both of them fell on their face at Florida State. Just like Billy fell on his face at Florida. just like a lot of these
just
coaches
like Scott Frost at Nebraska,
yeah.
just like Tom Herman at Texas. Yeah, man,
it
AAC is
doesn't
not the cradle of
translate
coaches.
when you go to that it doesn't translate. Some of them do, but most of them don't because it's a different sport. You're recruiting different calibers of kids. You're dealing with different caliber type of handlers, high school coaches, parents, assistant coaches. On the recruiting trail, you got to do things a certain way, however you take that. Like, I just want somebody that's used to recruiting against Kirby Smart in Alabama and Ohio State and winning some of those battles. You've got to bring players here, man. You've got to get players here.
I don't want the defensive coordinator from Ohio State. It was Matt Patricia. He didn't do well with the Detroit Lions when he was the head coach there.
He's the DC at Ohio State?
Yeah. That's who they got to replace Jim Knowles, who left to go to Penn State and then got James Franklin fired.
How long has Matt Patricia been at Ohio State?
Just this season.
Have you seen what they're doing? You see what they're giving up per game?
No.
5.6 points per game. Is that
good.
not unbelievable? I think the difference, though, honestly, nobody went there to play for Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
That's an Ohio State thing.
But that's the thing. It's a Florida. It's the brand, man. It's the brand. It's the fans. It's that university. We've got that same kind of mojo, I believe.
Right.
Man. I really do.
You used to, and it's not hard to find it again. It's not hard to gain it back. And again, Miami was lost in the wilderness for 2 decades. And maybe they are again. Great game there, Carson. You really lit it up there on a Friday night. But this is 2 years in a row now where they've been in the top 5 in the country. It's 2 years in a row where they've been in the playoff hunt. And if they don't stub their toe again, they're going to go to the playoff even with that loss on Friday night. Is Mario an incredible coach?
Clearly
Does
not.
Miami have anything that you don't have? I mean, I know they got some NIL, but it's also they didn't have anything going for them forever, for 2 decades. And now all of a sudden they're getting players again. It can flip. Florida State is an attractive place to go play football. It's an attractive place to go coach. It'd be nice if you went and got a good one.
Form and function, fit and futuristic. Ditch the old clunky stale wallet for a wallet from Ridge. Featuring premium materials for a premium feel. It'll be the last wallet you're ever going to buy because Ridge comes with a lifetime warranty. Oh, yeah, and free shipping. And a 99-day risk-free trial. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using code WAKEUP at checkout. Just head to ridge.com and use the code WAKEUP, and you're all set. I like this thing, guys. I've got better lower body mobility. Is it because I haven't been sitting on a wallet for like the last 6 months, or is it because I've been doing a little bit more mobility workout at the gym? I don't know, but it fits right into your front pocket. Piece of cake. And I'm not skinny jean guy. Okay, let's be honest. I know you guys think my fashion styles might be a little too flamboyant, but I don't wear skinny jeans. But I wear slim fit stuff, and it fits perfectly. So if you got the baggy stuff, piece of cake. Front pocket, all good. When you do your check before you leave the house, you won't have to tap the back of your back. You'll just be like, front pocket, I'm good to go. Check out Ridge, ridge.com. Use the promo code WAKEUP to save 10% off your order. The following message is brought to you by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year BetterHelp is saying, thank you, therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the United States. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. Their 12 plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people globally, and it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. Listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/warchant. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/warchant. We were back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Back to the wants, the checklist, the standard, or whatever, the prerequisites, the requirements, the experience that you would need, Corey. Like I just don't want to sound pie in the sky or unrealistic that like they have to go get Lane or they have to go get James Franklin. And then once you go past those guys, then you fall back, unfortunately, into this group of 5 mold. And, I just wonder where intersection of like patience and like real palpable building kind of merge, because I'm looking at a guy, I'm trying to think of somebody who's got a very high floor. Not a sexy name, but let me like throw this name out here. Again, like I throw out Jake Dickert, which makes you probably want to vomit, the Wake Forest coach, but a little bit of an older guy, kind of same age as Signetti, but Willie Fritz, who's been doing this since like the 90s. So he coached a junior college national champion. Then he went to Division II, made it to the playoffs a few years. Then he goes to Sam Houston State in the early, the teens. Gets Sam Houston State to the FCS championship game, I think, back-to-back years. Doesn't win it, though. Goes to Georgia Southern, wins 9 games a year at Georgia Southern. Then he's at Tulane. So he goes to Tulane, and he finishes going 12-2 and 11-2. Now he's at Houston. And in year one, they went 4-8 last year. They're now 6-1. But at Tulane, dude, he went 4-8, 5-7, 7-6, 7-6, 6-6, 2-10, and then goes 12-2, and then goes 11-2. And now John Sumrall, who took over at Tulane, he's an attractive group of 5 coach. I mean, people I think are saying that if Stoops gets fired from Kentucky, he probably gets a Kentucky job. Like, I think we've been plenty patient with Mike Norvell, but a guy like James Franklin, like, it took a while for him to be in the mix for these things. Right? Like his first 2 years were 7-6. Are we impatient, or are we just not seeing the things that we need to see from a coach to be able to build this thing sustainably?
Are you talking about impatient with Norvell?
I guess just in general as sports fans, but yeah, man, mostly college football and mostly because of Mike Norvell. It's only 2 years ago that he went 13-0. You know, like give him some more time, let him fix it. But then again, back to the first segment, like what is left? What stone out there is left to be turned over? But I guess maybe, sorry, Corey, how should we just approach the next coach? Do we have to have a different perspective? Grade them differently, or is the standard, and we need to be like, hey man, year one, like stop fussing around. Kirk Signetti, Kenny Dillingham didn't take them a long time to turn their teams around.
Yeah, I would think it will be different with the next head coach because, again, when Norvell took over, the portal was just starting. It wasn't really a thing. I don't think there was NIL yet, and it was COVID. So that was a legitimate reason to be like, okay, this is almost a season that doesn't count. Like, how do you judge anything from this? And really, you shouldn't have. I think Penn State was bad that year.
They were terrible.
I think Michigan State was good, something like that.
Yeah, correct. You're right.
And I mean, what did that matter? Once they started playing real football with real football seasons, Penn State was winning 10 games a year, and Mel Tucker was out of a job. And Norvell was better once he got his footing. So, I don't think that. But so whoever takes over this year, it is it's much more susceptible to be a quicker fix. And so no, I don't think you would show them the patience that you showed Norvell. Like I know they went 3-6, and I lost my mind a few times with how bad the defense was. But what were they supposed to do? They didn't have good players. They were playing Steven Dix and DJ Lundy as their 2 starting linebackers as true freshmen against Notre Dame. Good luck. And so. We have too many examples now, Aslan, of people coming in this day and age and turning it around very quickly. So no, you would get a year to get your bearings, but if you're struggling in year 2, people are going to start talking loudly. And also, you have to know that going in because this is Florida State, and fans are tired of this. This is not normal. I want to make sure people understand that. When I talk about how hard it is to win in college football and there aren't any great teams anymore and literally all these teams could lose 3 or 4 games a year, that's the truth. But I never want to normalize what's going on here. Nobody goes 13-0 and then basically 0-13. That just doesn't happen. You don't beat Alabama and lose to Stanford. That's ridiculous. That doesn't happen. That is the most bipolar football team / program / head coach that's ever lived. You don't do that. Alabama, of all the playoff contenders, now has by far the worst loss.
They shouldn't be allowed in the playoff.
Because they lost to Florida State. It should keep them out.
Nope.
Yeah.
Disqualified.
Yeah, exactly right. Florida State almost lost to Boston College in 2023. It almost lost to Louisville, and that kept them out. Losing to this Florida State team, it should disqualify you from postseason. So whoever takes the job will have to know that. Will have to come in with that lens that this is an angsty fan base, and they're going to be watching you like a hawk because of the last 2 hires. And even if you're good early, they ain't going to trust it because this last guy was really good for a while and then fell off the flippin' earth. And so, yeah, I think Florida State has exercised plenty of patience. And Mike Norvell can live the rest of his life on a beach drinking Mai Tais if he wants, thanks to that 13-0 season and Nick Saban retiring. And Florida State has been very good to him. He's made a lot of money, and he was good to Florida State for about a year and a half, 2 years. And, again, I like him as a person. Good guy, genuine guy. It'd be nice if he gave some of the money back. But, hey, no pressure, Mike. You say nobody cares more than you. We'll help out the program that made you wealthier than your wildest dreams and cut him a break. Just make him pay you $37 million or $22 million. That you can still live off that. But, yeah, obviously that's not going to happen. So, but, yeah, the Willie Fritz and people like that, there's always going to be pushback. There would be pushback to James Franklin, who I think is an absolute – that is a big name, and that would resonate throughout the country. That's the biggest name you can go get. I don't know why in this day and age Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss.
No.
I know why Jeff Brom would leave Louisville, because I do think there's a ceiling at Louisville, and I do think there's a ceiling at, like, SMU. I don't think there's a ceiling at Ole Miss anymore. And if there is, it's not that much lower than what Florida's has proven to be. So why go to what has basically been a coach's graveyard for the last 15 years? Nobody has success there. Dan Mullen had 1.5 good years, I feel like, right? Got him to the SEC championship, yeah. Other than that, and I think that might have been the COVID year, right?
No, 2018, that first season, I think. So he
when
went.
Did he have Trask? When did he have Trask and Kyle Pitts?
I think 18 and 19. He went 10-3 in 2018, 11-2 in 2019. They went 8-4 in 2020.
Yeah, they shouldn't have fired him.
They made it to the SEC championship game in 2020, and then 2021 he gets fired in the middle of the season, and like he had Alabama on the ropes, and then they lost the game late, and then they fired him like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, which is, in hindsight, that was
bad decision.
Florida fans are like,
bad decision, guys.
Our bad, Dan. He didn't help himself because he was
34 and 15. Corey, his record was 34 and 15.
It's crazy. It really is crazy. Like that's the best hire they made since Urban, and it didn't matter at all. They
ran him off. They ran him off.
I mean, how do you replace Dan Mullen with that?
He wasn't nice though, Corey. He wasn't.
Well,
nice
he was
to the
he was a
boosters.
weirdo. I get it, but he was certainly not as weird as McElwain. Yeah. So anyway. There is not a blueprint. There is not a surefire hire here. There is not one that is guaranteed success. I just think Florida State has made 2 bad hires in a row with 1.5 good years mixed in there because they went and got guys from not big-time programs, guys that succeeded at a lower level. And, yes, you could go find yourself another one of those, and it could be a home run. Look at Indiana. But, man, I know Brent Key is from Georgia Tech. I know Jeff Brom is from Louisville, and they're coaching at their alma maters. I do think they should wonder, can I really get to the finish line at this place? Can I really get enough players at Georgia Tech to win 4 straight playoff games and win this school a national championship? Is that feasible? Same thing with Louisville. Can I really do this at Louisville? Because you can at Florida State. You can. You can get just on the whole, on the average, certainly not counting what this last coach did, you can get better players in a place like Florida State. Same with Brett Lashley at SMU. And I want somebody that's proven it at this level, not at a level that's and I understand I say all this knowing that right now Florida State would lose to Louisiana, would get its head kicked in by Memphis, would certainly lose to South Florida. Like all these schools that I'm talking poorly about, those particular teams are better than Florida State's this year, which is another indictment. But I'm talking more about the state of the program, the overall history and tradition, and ceiling of a program. Florida State still has that ceiling. It still matters. And go get yourself a coach as if you matter. But I don't know what you should spend. I just don't know. But there's also the thought, Aslan, and I get that too. Especially if you're going to be paying Mike Norvell $50 million, go get a guy from USF and load him up with a roster that he can't screw up. Is the Texas Tech coach like just a savant?
Yeah, Joey McGuire. I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like he's a fine coach.
Yeah.
but he's got an NFL defensive line. He's got players that can really play. And a good win for Kenny, by the way.
Hell
really
yeah.
Good win for Kenny. Gutsy win. That quarterback,
Crazy.
man, he's a gamer. And so you could go that route and don't pay. I don't think Joey McGuire makes a ton of money. They spend it all on the roster. You could try that. I'm not saying that doesn't work. I just trust the guys that have beaten the Clemsons, played and beaten Michigan or Ohio State or at Miami on a Friday night, that know how to win those games, and maybe more importantly, Aslan, can instill that belief in in their players that they can win those games. Yeah. Mike Norvell's players just do not believe in themselves and do not believe in him. That has become painfully obvious. I think they believed in Jared Verse and Jordan Travis. I don't think they ever – I just don't think they believe in the head coach. I don't know why. I think he's a genuine person. I do admit, as I've listened to 6 years of press conferences, it can drone on a little bit, and I can hear the same stuff over and over again, and maybe it just goes right in one ear and out the other, and maybe that happens to these players. I do think they try to play hard. I don't think they're prepared very well. I guess they don't practice very well. And they clearly don't buy into whatever. They just don't buy into it. They don't buy into him. And go get you someone that instills belief in their team. And whoever that may be, and then obviously you're going to have to go get that guy a bunch of really good players too. But it's too important to fail. And I want to reiterate this one last time, and we'll be doing it probably for the next 2 months. If you're willing to pay someone $50 million to not coach your football team, understand you're all in. So money now is not a factor anymore. It almost isn't, right, Aslan? Like, it can't be. Yeah. You can't pay that guy $50 million and be like, well, let's get through these next 4 years with like a 21 and 25. And then once we're done paying Norvell, we'll start trying to win again. If you're paying somebody $50 million to not coach, by the very definition, you're trying to win. So go try to win. Give yourself the best chance to win. That is not to skimp. That's right. I got it right.
Yeah.
That is not to skimp on who you hire as the next head coach. Plus, if you hire a Willie Fritz or an Alex Golish or a
Charles Huff, my guy Southern Miss, he's another guy that I think
there you go, Southern Miss, the Tulane coach. Fine, I'm not saying they wouldn't be great. It is going to be met with a enormous yawn and side eye by an entire fan base.
And then a week later, we're going to convince ourselves he's the next.
No,
thing.
we're not doing that anymore. I'm done with that.
Right.
I'm done with that. Okay. No, you're going to have to go earn it for multiple years before I believe in you as a head coach and what you're doing. I will look into your career and say, oh, well, this is impressive or this is a little concerning, but I'm done trying to convince people that this guy is good or this guy isn't until they prove it to us at Florida State.
Amen. Joey McGuire, head coach, Texas Tech, 6-year, $26.6 million contract. Steven Dix, Corey, actually at Arkansas, has started 5 games for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I saw him playing the other they lost to A&M. Yeah. I saw him actually make a good tackle. He ran the quarterback down, and that's a really fast quarterback running a sweep. But then Texas A&M hit a 50-yard touchdown on the next play. And apparently none of the Arkansas defensive players must have played that well because they gave up 45 points. Yeah. Same thing, Elko. You know why I like Elko? Because, number one, he's a great coach. That helps. But, he did it at a high level. He was at Notre Dame, right, as the DC. Yep. Then he went to Texas A&M as the DC. He coached those great players. Yeah. He recruited some great players. He saw what it looked like. He had the game plan against other great players and be like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't let number 10 from Miami catch anything he wants. We'll try to figure out a way. And now I know I'm talking about a guy that just gave up 42 points to Arkansas. Still won the game, everyone. But the point being, the reason I think he's a successful head coach, other than being good, is that, he did it. He did it in the ACC. Without great talent, he proved he could win and put together a competent team in the ACC, and now he's doing really big things at A&M, but he earned it and proved it at big schools. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Duke as a head coach, now Texas A&M as head coach. I mean, that's to me, that's the kind of resume you're looking for. I just want somebody that can bring this program players.
One last thing before we go, maybe one and a half last thing. So I don't want anyone to think that the last segment there was like me advocating or calling you people impatient, you people.
No, I thought that was just a talking point.
Yeah,
I certainly don't think you want to keep Norvell.
Yeah, and it's very much like me, just picking Stanford on the Warchant report just because it's like, whatever, man. Let me just throw something out there to make people talk. Which there's a 7-page thread on the Tribal Council that says, that basically was criticizing me for picking Stanford. Numerous people wanted me to get fired for picking Stanford. A couple people wanted me to get my salary at the minimum reduced by Gene.
Right.
A couple people apologized. That was super cool.
Apologized?
Well, they
apologized after they lost?
Well, yeah, for being like, we should fire you, Aslan, or like you're an idiot and, you should get Doc's salary for picking against Florida State. They're like, sorry, maybe we shouldn't have been that emotional about it, which is fine. That's cool. I'm not trying to take a victory lap on that at all. But just to underscore the fact, like I'm not trying to sell another year, another 3 weeks, another 2 weeks. It is bizarre, though, again, that we've been talking about this thing like it's happened, and it has not happened as we sit here and do this show, but it just feels like it's going to. And I don't understand why they just didn't do it on Sunday. I just, maybe we'll get some sort of clarification on it, Core, but we'll see how it goes. But just the game itself, is that even worth to talk about? Obviously, we'll see how Tommy's health is.
Right.
What a scary way for that game to end for him, getting the late hit penalty. But he put everything he had onto that field, and he clearly was hobbled. But just, the stuff that you and Ira talked about on the wrap, just, Edwin Joseph jumps off sides on a field goal that's missed, and then that gives them new life, and they end up getting a touchdown. He gets into an argument with Norvell, and then goes right back out on the field. I know that's something that really bothered a lot of people about last year's team, but yeah, just there was, despite all that, I'm like, they're going to maybe end up winning this game just because of all the things that happened on that last drive, but just what a gross game. I just feel like I got so many text messages from so many different people throughout the game, first thing Sunday morning, that was just like, yuck. I mean, was that game, it's not Jacksonville State, but like, it was at the point, was it the nair to the point to nair, the nair to point? I don't know. It's some sort of literary term for the low point, whatever the Latins said. But just anything else about that game that you're gonna remember? I'm gonna remember that last drive. I'm gonna remember that Hail Mary to Micah Danzy or Mekhi Danzy. I'm gonna remember the snap going right by Sperry, but him picking it up and having the wherewithal to throw it in the end zone, and you're gonna get untimed down on the 2-yard line, and then the Sawchuk shovel pass, which is a good play. It's a good play.
Yeah, and I think if Tommy's the quarterback, he sells it better. And I think Sawchuk probably walks in because they would have legitimately been worried about him scrambling out and running, which would have opened that up even more. Yeah, man, I guess. Look, when Tommy is not going to run and never pull the ball on the read option, I think the only time he pulled the ball on the read option, he threw it to Deuce 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. Yeah. So clearly that part of the offense wasn't going to be a part of the offense, and it basically you started just calling runs into the line to make it 2nd and 10. There was nowhere to go. You weren't blocking them in the middle. Cromaw got 4 carries for some reason.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you, Corey, as I asked you a question, but could it possibly be they want to see what he could do with Sperry, give him a bye week, roll out Kevin Sperry? And, if he looks really good, then maybe.
Well, what I would say to that is, what do you mean what he can do? Do we mean what Gus can do?
Yeah, touche.
You know what I mean? Like, it's Gus's offense, so what can Gus do with Kevin Sperry? And the reason that so basically you're ended up with an offense that is highly ineffective as we've seen now through the second half against Pitt, really, and then the whole game against Stanford, that it's just highly ineffective if Tommy's elite athleticism isn't in play because he's not an elite quarterback otherwise. He's probably a below-average quarterback in college football if he doesn't have that athleticism. But again, that's like saying Patrick Mahomes would be a bad quarterback if he didn't have a rocket for a right arm. Like, that's who he is. That's part of Tommy's package, or it's supposed to be. You're going to take some bad with the good that comes with what he did against Alabama, putting that game away with all those first down runs and the plays he made with his legs. That's the good that comes with Tommy. The bad is some of the stuff you saw on Saturday night. I mean, he misses Dancy on what would have been a walk-in touchdown. Not a walk-in, a sprint-in touchdown. Yeah, I don't think Danzy's fast enough to walk in there, but he's wide open in the middle of the field, clear lane to throw it, and he just misses him by 7 yards. He almost got Pittman killed on the throw over his head by 15 feet.
Oof, yeah, that was tough.
But he makes some good throws. I mean, he made a throw to McCoy where it's, over a linebacker in front of his. I mean, he makes those kind of throws too, but he just makes too many bizarre, bad throws. And you can live with that if he's killing it on the ground. But he's not. He's running out of bounds. He's diving. He's coming up short of the yard marker. He's not himself. I mean, that was a heck of their only touchdown was him leaping into the end zone, and then he got knocked out of the game on it wouldn't have been a 25-yard run because you were called for another penalty. But it was his longest run of the day, and he got knocked out sliding, which, again, that was as flagrant can be. And, of course, it didn't even matter. I mean, I guess they ended up netting 5 yards. That was worth it to Stanford, I think. Knock their quarterback out of the game, give them 5 yards, and now they got to play their backup true freshman. They're just not coached well, man. And this is on Norvell. It's gonna sound like I'm criticizing Gus, but how in the world, with 2.5 minutes left, the ball at the plus 40, with a backup quarterback that's never played a meaningful snap, true freshman on the road, 1st and 10, with 2.5 minutes left in all 3 timeouts, do you decide to just drop him back every play? What? You're a running team, I thought. You're not down by 2 touchdowns. You're down by a touchdown. And his greatest use to you in that moment probably is his legs. They have no idea who that kid is. He could have ripped off he's at least as fast as Henschel. He could have ripped off a couple of 15, 20-yard runs. And I just couldn't believe that in that moment they decide to just let's ride with Kevin Sperry and see if he can win this game. Man, Mike, your career is on the line, dog. What are you doing? You've got good you can't give a ball to Danzy on a sweep. You're just going to have Sperry drop back and try to win this game. And then, he looked like he was supposed to look, rattled and uncertain and uncalm. He takes a horrible sack on the final drive. You can't take a sack in that spot. He's also 18 or 19 years old and has never been in that kind of position. He was put in that position because your starter was hurt, and you did not help him at all when you weren't in desperation mode. 2:20 left, down by a touchdown at their 41-yard line. Is not desperation mode. You can run the ball. You can run the ball all the way down the field if you want. You go so fast, you could run the ball. Your quarterback could actually pull it a couple of times. Instead, you just drop back because that's that's the strength of this offense. It's just getting back in the pocket, reading the field, and letting it rip. Come on, man. But anyway, that just bothered me for the development of that young man, whoever he's playing for next year. I just thought that was woefully inept. To have him come in there and do that. As far as the game goes, I don't know. I don't know. Mekhi Danzy's I actually there's a story on the website, Aslan, that we should promote. Yeah. I wrote a story about the players you absolutely want to keep next year for a new staff. Who are your top? Give me yours right now as we talk, just off the cuff. 5 players that you absolutely want to keep off this team going into next year?
Mekhi Danzy.
Yep, that's my number 1.
Chroma, I guess, but I don't know if I really believe that in my heart of hearts. But I got to think that are there 4 other guys better than him? Right?
Back to Danzy. I think Danzy might be a superstar, man. He just goes up and catches a Hail Mary. Who does that?
Yeah.
Who does that? This kid's been playing receiver for 9 seconds, and he leads the nation in yards per catch. He's got 19 catches for 470 yards. It's unbelievable what he's doing. And again, I want to reiterate, his starting quarterback missed him on what would have been a 65-yard touchdown pass in the middle of the field because he somehow missed a wide-open receiver matched up with a slow safety and couldn't get it to him. But he is lightning. Whoever is the coach next year has to make darn sure he's still on the team because he's awesome. Anyway, go ahead. Chromo, I had Chromo too.
Okay. I feel like there's somebody on defense beside the Desir twins that's staring me in my face. Kevin Wynn.
Yep. But all those mentioned.
And then, the Desir twins. So that's 5, right?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I also mentioned Deuce, though I don't know if he's going to be in the draft. He's certainly draftable. That's for darn sure. He's been good too, man.
He's got
29 catches for 550 yards or whatever it is. He's just a big play, man. I don't know why when they get in the red zone they don't throw him the ball.
Kevin
Sperry did.
Sperry
Kevin Sperry knows at least, and got a PI out of it. But yeah, Deuce has been a revelation. He's been awesome. He's been one of the best receivers in the conference. And the reason I bring that up is because if you were to convince Mekhi Danzy, and I think Mekhi Danzy has an Adidas deal too, right? Like he's got an NIL deal because of the track stuff. If you were to convince Mekhi Danzy and Deuce Robinson to come back to Florida State next year, do you not think that might be a pretty appealing place for a big-time quarterback to come?
Yeah.
To throw to those two guys?
Absolutely. Yeah,
along with Javon Boggs and LaWayne McCoy, maybe Randy Pittman, who is just a football player. That guy is a football player. That's another great catch he had. I'm not sure if it was really a catch, but that is a great catch he had on fourth down. He jumped on a fumble, I think, a couple of weeks ago. He's been hurt all season, but plays his rear end off.
Yeah.
And is a football player, and you need those guys. I would also throw Earl Little into the mix. He's a fourth-year player. I don't know what his NFL prospects are because of his size, but he is a good college football player. He leads the team in tackles and now has 3 interceptions. He's probably going to be first-team All-ACC after not playing for 3 years. So that's cool. And those kind of guys are guys you can build foundationally. And they are going to have to keep some of these guys. I shouldn't say half. They're going to want to keep some of these guys. I think the guys we mentioned are probably the ones that will be highest on the list when the new coach, if a new coach takes over, it would be imperative to try to keep as many of those guys as possible because there are some nice pieces here. Unlike after last season, there are some nice pieces here for a new coach to come in and try to get right.
All right. Well, we just gave the whole story away, but there's other things. There's Corey's column. There's Ira's really great writing about how the attention right now, all eyes are really on Michael Alford and this administration for how they're going to figure this thing out here. So stay connected to warchant.com. Gene Williams has been doing this for like 30 years, man. Check out the pinned thread over on the Tribal Council. And for all the people I know, not everybody subscribes, and they're like, oh, I can get my information elsewhere. Listen, man, there's a reason why a lot of other websites take screenshots of message board posts that Gene makes and then post them on their social media feed. Then they're not trying to steal. They're not trying to act like they know. They know where the information resides. It's at warchant.com. Try us out for $1 for a week. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. We'll be, I don't know, man, on standby for anything that possibly could or could not happen on Monday. And if not, we're scheduled to speak to the coordinators on Tuesday.
Hey, remind me, did we get Alex Atkins last year after he was fired?
No, that was Notre Dame game, wasn't it? Like they had a bye week after the Notre Dame game, and then it was Charleston Southern, I think. But
he got fired that Sunday. For some reason, I thought we still talked to him. I don't know why. No. There's no way, though, right?
No.
Okay.
He didn't get it.
Because I was wondering if and when this goes down, if there would be like I guess there wouldn't be. There just
exit interview.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Because
everyone learned from Lane. Everyone learned from Lane when he did it in Tennessee. Like, not a good idea. Not a good idea.
Well, that's true. But I do want to reiterate, like that. I hope he has a great career. I hope he finds a good career somewhere else. I don't know if that's true, but I do appreciate the way he was with us, and I wanted to make this point on the way out. I think obviously he lost his career last year going 2-10. They tried to salvage it. But as they tried to salvage it, the tenets of what he wanted his program to be were lost. They had to bring in an offensive coordinator that was just kind of like here to be a stopgap. He had to run a 3-4, which I don't think Mike wants to run a 3-4, but Tony White was a hotshot defensive coordinator, so they brought him in. He made all these willing sacrifices to keep his job, but when you do that, it just usually doesn't work out. And the reason I bring this up is because, and again, this isn't a complaint. I've loved my mornings. I get mornings now. The minute he closed he's closed down practice, it stopped becoming the Mike Norvell's program. And what I mean by that is, literally, I'm not making this up. That was something he talked about in his introductory press conference, was that he wanted to be transparent. He wanted to show everyone how hard his kids worked, how hard this team worked.
Yep.
He wanted every practice. He wanted to be the most open media policy in the country. And it was awesome, and it was great. As soon as he goes in 2-10 and he has to bring in the saviors, all of a sudden that doesn't matter to him anymore, right? Like, so who's running the show? Whose program is it? Because Mike Norvell always wanted people at practice, and then all of a sudden it got shut down. Well, that kind of makes me think that you're not really steadfast in what you believe, or you made too many sacrifices because you went 2-10 last season and didn't keep your core values. And that goes to something that's actually more important, which is special teams. For all we know, Aslan, they stopped working on special teams. Would it surprise you if I told you they haven't practiced special teams in 4 months?
No.
Right. It doesn't look like they do at all. Well, they might not. Malzahn and Tony White might have been like, when they saw the first practice schedule, like, wait, what? We're going to spend 30 minutes on special teams when you got that kid that just kicks it into the stands anyway? No. I got to practice my zone reads with my quarterback while he's healthy. And so I think that part of his foundational program, part of his foundation clearly was lost too. It just all who he became got lost. Who he wanted to be got lost. Special teams mattered to him. It sounded like almost as much as anything. Like literally he said that's how you define the culture is how you played on special teams. Well, Mike, your culture now sucks if we're going just by what you look like on special teams. And I think they probably changed the way they practice on special teams. But that wasn't his choice because he got to Florida State by doing all these things and having these things in place and having these tenets in place. And then he just lost it after a 2-10 season, which makes you think he didn't really believe that much in him anyway, or he was easily swayed to try to get the quick fix. And the quick fixes usually don't work. And sadly, they didn't work for him. I hope at his next job he holds fast to who he is. And if he has a bad season, he has a bad season. Don't just change who you are and what you want to be because of one bad season. Just go get better. And and I'm saying this as if it's happened. I might be talking to him after the Wake game. But it really was a joy for the most part. Not the games themselves, but the way we interacted, the way he interacted with the media, the way he interacted with the fans, the things he said about the fans and the program. I genuinely appreciated it. I do think he's a good person. I do think he genuinely and truly appreciated what a privilege it was to coach at Florida State. You could tell it meant a lot to him. And you could tell it hurts him that his program is so bad right now because there are a lot of people hurting, and he knows he's mostly to blame. And now it's not going to help anybody sleep at night when that $50 million check is cut, but it does. I don't know, man. It does mean something to me that I know it means something to him, and that he really is. When you look at him on the sideline, man, he is devastated. He is devastated. And I know that's probably not what you want your head coach to look like. You'd like him to be a little calmer, maybe a little more confident. But it does matter to him too much, honestly. It matters to him too much. Much like, remember when James Blackman cried at the Sun Bowl? Yeah. And I'm like, man, I don't know if this guy's the answer. You can't care that much that you're crying on the sideline in the middle of the game. You're wound too tight, man. I think this place got into Norvell's blood too much, and he really felt like he was letting down, and he was, but he really felt down like he was letting down millions of people. And that's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and I think that also then gets consumed by your players.
The outside noise, some might call it. Some might call it outside noise, everybody.
Yeah, block it out, Mike. Block it out next time. Wherever if you land at FAU or UTEP or something, go land it, and he'll get another coaching job, and he might get another big coaching job in his future. And anyway, all that was to say, it really was I really did enjoy the interactions with him over the last 6 years, and he really was good to us, to me anyway, but I think to us, and I say us as the media, and really I think he really did care about the fans, and he feels really, really badly, not that you guys care, but he does feel really badly about what happened and where this program is right now.
All right, there we go.
I did it, everyone. Now fire his to get James Franklin in here.
He's Corey. I'm Maslow. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. WarchantBogo, your promo code.